Hello, and welcome to LSET Tech Bytes. Today, we're diving into the exciting world of web development. We'll be showing you how to create a classic game 2048 right from scratch. Begin by addressing the HTML code provided. Explain the doc type HTML declaration, which defines the document type and version of HTML being used. Point out that the HTML document is written in English based on the lang attribute in the opening HTML tag. Discuss the HTML head section where metadata, styling, and resources are typically declared. Highlight the title of the document set by title 2048 game titles. Describe the structure within the body section. Emphasize the presence of a container div with a class of container that initially has the hide class applied. This container will host the game grid. Point out the elements within the container like the heading and the score display using div class heading and span ID scores 0 span. Mention the game grid displayed with div class grid. Transition to explaining the cover screen area surrounding the game grid. Refer to elements such as the game over message bracket heading 2 ID equals over text class equals hide game over slash heading 2 and the result display PID equals result slash P. Introduce the start button ID equals start, button start game, slash button that will initiate or restart the game. Mention the inclusion of jQuery library script sr equals https://cdnjs.cloudflare.com ajax libstrequery 3.7.1 jQuery.min.jcs script used for JavaScript functionalities. Highlight the reference to a local script file script src equals script.jscript where the game logic will be implemented. In the head section, we've linked our CSS style sheet. Alright folks, let's dive into the styling part of our 2048 game. Grab your favorite text editor because we're about to make our game look visually stunning. First, create a new CSS file named style.css. This is where all our styling magic will happen. Starting with the universal selector, we are setting padding, margin, and box sizing for all elements, ensuring a consistent layout across different browsers. The chosen font family is Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif for good cross-platform compatibility. The body section sets the background color of our game to a pleasant shade of green, providing a soothing backdrop for the game. Moving on to the iHeading class, we are using Flexbox to align the heading elements, creating a nice layout for the game title. The heading 1 tag is styled to have a prominent color of gray and an enlarged font size of 4 EM, making it visually appealing and easy to read. Within the dot container, we position our game interface absolutely and center it on the screen. This is achieved using the left 50% and top 50% properties along with a transform to reposition it correctly. The dot score container class styles the score display with the desired color, size, and margin for better visibility during gameplay. The hash score ID sets the font weight to 600, emphasizing the score for the player. The game grid defined by the dot grid class is styled to have a fixed width and height, a distinct background color, and a bordered layout with rounded corners, providing a visually appealing game board. Each individual box within the grid, designated as dot box, is styled with specific dimensions, border color, font size, and weight to display the game numbers prominently. Additionally, they use Flexbox to center the numbers within each box. The dot cover screen class is used to create a full screen cover for game over message and restart button. It gives the game a clean, minimalist look with vertically and horizontally centered content. The hash start button ID styles the game start button with a contrasting color, appropriate padding, and a cursor change on hover to enhance user interaction. Styling the result text with appropriate margin and font size to ensure it's easily readable. Color-specific classes like Box 2, Box 4, Box 8, and so on style the individual number boxes with distinct, vibrant colors, making it easy for the player to differentiate between the game elements. Finally, with this CSS, our 2048 game will have a visually appealing and user-friendly interface, enhancing the gaming experience for our users. Let's move on to the JavaScript part where we'll add functionality to our 2048 game. First, we start by defining the various elements of our game using jQuery. We have the grid, start button, container, cover screen, result, and overtext elements. These elements will allow us to interact with the game and display important information to the user. Next, we initialize variables such as the game matrix, score, swipe status, touch coordinates, grid dimensions, and swipe direction. These variables will help us keep track of the game state and user interaction. This function generates the grid layout for our game, creating div elements to represent each box where numbers will appear. These functions check for adjacent numbers and possible moves to determine if the game can continue. These functions help in generating random numbers for new tiles and checking if there are any empty boxes left on the grid. This function checks if the game is over by verifying if there are any possible moves left. These functions generate new tiles with either a value of 2 or 4 on the grid. These functions help in sliding and merging tiles in different directions. These functions handle the sliding movement of tiles in the respective direction. This event listener detects keyboard inputs to move tiles in the corresponding direction. These event listeners handle touch gestures for swiping tiles on touchscreen devices. Finally, we set up a function to start the game, reset the score and game matrix, display the game grid, and generate initial tiles. We also attach a click event to the start button to initiate the game. And there you have it, folks. With our JavaScript code in place, our 2048 game is now fully functional and ready to be played. Stay tuned for upcoming tutorials on this channel, delivering concise and valuable insights to elevate and enrich your skills and knowledge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome tutorials like this. See you in the next one.